At Shaw's, they're perfecting the art of fresh. Their produce pros work with trusted, top-quality growers so your hand-picked fruits and vegetables are harvested at the peak of flavor and handled with care from farm to you. Come by and pick up fresh-cut, colorful produce, prepared daily in their store and bursting with flavor. They'll meet or beat national standards, so you get the cream of the crop. Shop in-store or online at shaws.com today for delivery or for convenient curbside pickup.
B-Pod Studios.
Felger.
I don't know, guys. Am I going to play? Am I not going to play? What am I going to do?
Maz.
Yeah, Maz, you stupid. S-T-O-O. Stupid Maz.
It's time for Felger and Maz, presented by DraftKings on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Chris, can the Patriots get their first win at home of 2021?
I don't expect it. I don't. You know my thoughts, and I think your thoughts are the same with the Cowboys offense. I mean, it's tough to stop them. Well, what do you stop? I think the world of the Belichick, and I think they'll have a good game plan to kind of give them some issues. But then the other side of the ball, too, it's like, the same thing. I know the Cowboys defense is not great, but they cause turnovers. And, just nobody can make a play up in New England on the offensive side of the ball. I've never seen anything like it. It's just 12 plays, 80 yards, 15 plays, 60 yards, 4-yard pass, 4-yard pass, 5-yard pass, 3-yard run, 4-yard pass. I can't get it done. So I think they're going to be a pain in the ass because of the defense, but I'm going to go Cowboys 24-17.
Hour 2, Agenda Free Friday, driven by the Bernardi Auto Group. Catch them at BernardiAutoGroup.com. That's Chris Sims' analysis of the situation. How do you feel about it, Maz?
I think it's, to me, this is the way to play Dallas is slow the game down. Absolutely slow the game down. Make the drives long on both sides. But in terms of the Patriots offense.
Sims is saying it's a pop gun offense.
It is. It's a pop gun offense. In this game, it might help. But it is a pop gun offense. Thus far it has been. I don't think there's any disputing that. Can it change? Can it grow? Sure. But, but what it's been so far is not good enough. The part that he left out is, 15 plays, 60 yards, field goal.
That's the part I care. I know I'm in the minority. I just don't care about the big play thing. I think that's fool's gold, the big play offense. I don't care about you can't make big plays or not.
Yeah, but you'd like something more than 3 straight stupid screens in the red zone once they get there, right?
So this is what we're talking about, scoring touchdowns versus field goals. I'm okay with the 12-play drive as long as it ends in the end zone.
Correct.
Yeah, so, it's really the red zone offense that is my big quibble with the team. And
they don't trust him down there.
No, they definitely don't.
They don't trust Jones down there. And I'll tell you, the more I listen to Paul Perillo, the more I think that this thing was all rooted in training camp. That he had trouble with red zone offense in training camp, and he's probably still having trouble with it, or at least did to start the year. Maybe they're growing out of it, or I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But my guess is that it's continued, that in practice they get down there, you get 22 bodies in 20 yards of space or 30 yards of space counting the end zone, and he can't find openings down there. And he's probably turning it over, and they're terrified of having him turn the ball over. That's my guess as to what's going on. It might be that simple.
So I'd be surprised if they can hold the Dallas offense down like they did Brady that night. There was rain, and Brady was a mess. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be, but I think Brady was jittery with the moment and the emotion of the night or something. I don't know if Dak Prescott has any of those qualms. There's no baggage there. And I would be surprised if you can hold him to whatever that was, 19 points. I'd be stunned. You're going to have to score in this game. So when you get 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line, let's the kid take a shot or two. I'm talking about shots down there. I don't care about I really don't care about the 40-yard bomb down the boundary and things like this. I think that's overrated. But when you get into the red zone, you got to try and score touchdowns, and that'll be a big thing to watch in this game.
So the only thing I would add is if he really is having trouble in there, then when you get to the 35, take a shot.
Yeah, take a shot there.
Right? It doesn't have to be your own end of the field, but, when there's a little more room, take a shot because you got to get touchdowns.
Okay, back to your phones. Here's Tim in Blackstone on this. What do you got, Tim?
Hey, guys. So I think we're all pretty clear the Patriots need to take either the run or the pass away. My problem is I don't know if they take the run away, that they have the men that can play one-on-one on the outside. They're giving up slants left and right on 3rd down. Jalen Mills plays 8 yards off the ball. I think Dak is good enough. Their only hope is that Mike McCarthy skid marks himself, and that's how they'll lose that game. The Cowboys is self-inflicted stuff. I don't see them being able to stop this offense with the options they have.
No, what's scary about Dallas is that they'll take the easy money. So they've shown offensive discipline, and really it comes in the form of the run game. They want to run. They have big offensive linemen. They've spent on their offensive linemen. They've spent heavily at running back. It's sort of the Dallas tradition to run, and they want to run, and they will run. So when you play back, which you should, they will take advantage and hand the ball off, and you will get gashed. But hopefully you make the tackle at some point, and the clock keeps running, and the score stays down because of it. That is sort of a path right there for you.
Yeah, and I think in that way, too, Elliott's the worst kind of running back for them because he's a guy that will run between the tackles and hit you for 8 every time. Like, now the only thing I don't know about him, does he have any fumbling history?
Yeah, I think he does. I feel like he fumbled. I mean, who knows? The last couple of years as they were a mess, I think he was putting the ball on the ground.
Yeah,
I think.
So maybe you catch a break there, although the Patriots aren't exactly the forced fumble team of, again, I think it's still 0 fumbles this year they forced.
Bob in Southbridge. Go ahead, Bob.
Hi, Mike. Listen, I was listening to you guys, the week leading up to Tampa, how Tampa was going to drop 50 on us or they're going to drop a big load on us and all this. Don't you kind of think that the Patriots play up to whatever team they're playing? In other words, like when they played Houston or whatever, they play down to them.
No.
But if it's a good team, they seem to play up to them.
Well, let's see, Bob.
You don't see that?
No. Well, I don't see enough of a sample. I mean, here's what I think.
Look at Brady the last couple of weeks, by the way. He was a jittery mess coming back here. That was more about him than their defense.
I think the one time you can say they, quote-unquote, played up to their competition is they had a competitive game with Tampa, but I think Tampa was off that night. Brady was off that night. He played into you. Other than that, yes, you played at the same level of some bad teams. You know why? Because I think you might be a bad team. You can't say you're playing down to an opponent when you stink.
Yeah, no, you're comfortable there.
That's just who you are. All right, now, do you get up for good opponents? If you have a good game against Dallas, then I will add it to the Tampa game and say, okay, maybe that wasn't a one-off, and you do have that thing. But I don't think there's enough of a sample yet to know that. I'm blaming the Tampa performance on Brady, not on anything you did that was special. Brian in the car on the Bees. Hi, Brian.
Hey, guys. Hey, Mike, McAvoy was pitching a tent after signing for 9.5 a year. But how do you go into the season if you're the Bruins, sign Derek Forbert and think that's enough on defense? Like, you signed Allmark for 5 a year. Couldn't you have signed Ryan Suter for 3.5 like Dallas? And then on Saturday, he'll be playing 20 minutes while Allmark is opening the bench.
Yeah. Yes, and again, I'm sure there's other names you can throw at me. But and Suter at 3.5 feels like a bargain. But how about a real defenseman? How about like a real premium defenseman?
Who's the guy who re-signed in Vegas? Savard? Is it Savard?
I'm going to have to check it, but go ahead.
No, so they were...
it's not Martinez, was it?
Oh, Martinez is who I'm thinking
That's
of.
who it was.
Yeah. So Martinez.
Alec Martinez?
So they were in on him, right? And
reportedly, but go ahead.
But my point is, to get a guy like that to come here, if he's committed to his team, you're going to have to overpay him a little. So couldn't you have used the money from a goalie to do that again?
Yes.
Why not play Studnicka at third center? Instead of signing Howler and Nosek, sign one of them. Don't sign Allmark and keep Vladar. Now you got a lot more money to throw at Martinez.
No doubt. Alec Martinez signed 3 years, just under 16 to go back to Vegas. So that's a $5+ million player. Swap him and Allmark out. I think you're in better shape.
Yeah.
I mean, simple as that.
Again, maybe you got to bump him to 6 or 6.5, whatever it is. But maybe that gets it done, and now you convince him.
That's just one example, but that's how I would have built the team. I would have built it more along the blue line. I don't mind their forward moves. I don't, because they had to get better on the bottom six. Their bottom six stunk, blue. And it's, frankly, one of the big reasons they have lost the last couple of years. They got smoked in the bottom six by the Islanders last year. So they needed that too. But if you're asking me they needed help in net or help on the blue line, it was clear. It was the blue line. Please. We've got Jim in Yarmouth holding on Marcus Smart. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Mike. A native Cape Carter. Just kidding. Mike, I've struggled in recovery my whole life. Sometimes a guy is crying for help. And I think that's what Marcus Smart is. I think he really is. Maybe there's a personal issue there. And I'd like your comments on that.
I think it's a fair thing to bring up. I mean, missing a flight is next level. missing an actual team trip is next. All guys show up late to a meeting here or there or a shoot around, or they miss the bus to the stadium that's 2 blocks away. Like, whatever. Like that, and that you got to find the guy for that stuff too, and that's not a good sign. When you flat out miss the trip, like that is.
You're typically waking up sticky, drunk, and confused.
Yeah, right? Like that is a cry for help or something. I'm just telling you, that's the next level, and that's a big deal, even in the preseason. It just is.
Yeah, look, again, I thought there was an opportunity. Yesterday, we were discussing the Celtics via email. I think I said, well, I like the fact that there hasn't been anything too alarmist here during the preseason.
Yep.
Then it's all happened at once. Yeah. You know, so like I look at it now and say, I feel like they're missing an opportunity. You know, Philly's got an issue with Simmons. Brooklyn's got Kyrie. Like, you know, there might be some crap going on with some of these other teams. Jump in there. And now it feels like they can't get their own crap straight.
We've got our buddy Tony in Stoneham on the ALCS starting tonight. Tony, what do you think? Who do you like?
I like the Red Sox a little bit. I'm going to tell you something. Maz, did you see what happened, what they did last night in the Dodger game? They started relief pitchers.
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about it, Tony.
And wouldn't you rather see Sale if he's on and some of the other top starters for the Red Sox in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning than in the 1st and 2nd inning?
So,
that was crazy. I mean, this is amazing how they did that.
Well, it's
not that new, though.
It's not that new. It's the modern game, Tony. It is the analyst taking over, and it kind of works.
It does work.
You know, and it's just like that's the shame of it, is that it's not as entertaining. It's not as fun to watch. Would have been so much more fun if that was a 1-1 pitcher's duel with the starting pitchers going back and forth. And then there's the drama of who can last the longest and when you pinch hit for the guy and who can outlast the other. It's just a better story. It's a better drama as opposed to just playing the matchups from the first inning. But playing the matchups from the first inning works. So it's why the nerds do it. And that's where the Dodgers were at last night. That 20-game winner lined up to pitch this game, and they started with the bullpen. I mean, it's just mind-blowing, but that's where the game is gone. And you'll be doing stuff like that, too, whether it's this series or shortly, you know, in short order. You will be doing the exact same kind of stuff.
I mean, I do like the idea of having some of your best guys at the end of the game. But the Red Sox did that in 2018, too, right? Porcello came out of the bullpen. Sale came out of the bullpen. Obviously, Evaldi did it. And so this is one of the things I do like about Cora in these games. I feel like in these games, he'll go for the throat. He'll manage aggressively. And I understand there's a lot of analytics in there, but he'll go to guys, you know, in his rotation at key spots.
No, so see, like I consider, though, the Scherzer 9th inning or the Porcello at the end of the game not an analytics thing, even if the analytics endorse it. I don't consider that analytics. I consider that I'm trusting this personality. Like that's more old school, even though they never did it in the old school. But that to me, I am all for. Scherzer in the 9th, that's cool. Corey Knebel to start the deciding game of a divisional series is freaking lame. Lame. It's Fugazi, but that's the game. But Scherzer at the end, Sale to close, whatever. Like that stuff, feed me that. Like that stuff's great. All right, folks, you want to turn up the air conditioner. It's about to get hot in here. Woo-hoo-hoo. Don't go anywhere. Some hot Patriots takes right after this.
The beauty of business is its ability to solve human problems and to bring those solutions to scale.
Bentley University President Ela Brent Crite explains how good business can make the world a better place.
Bentley is uniquely positioned to prepare students for a 21st century marketplace. The intersection of business and the arts and science is where magic can occur. That's what we do. That's what we bring to the table. And that's the difference at Bentley.
Do you believe in moral victories? A good loss? We'll get them next time.
No silver linings here on Felger and Maz.
Then you are in the wrong place.
You have to accept that, so we...
Felger and Maz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Now Nick Folk will pace off his steps backward from the 11 with Cardona over the football between the hash marks. Gostkowski beat Houston with a late field goal in 13. Now it's Folk. The snap and the placement. Swing to the right leg. The kick. Airborne to the uprights is good. And the Patriots have the lead with 15 seconds to go. The Patriots able to regroup. And Nick Folk with a late field goal, the 4th of the day for the veteran, lifts the Patriots ultimately to the narrow win over Houston and to a 2-3 record as the Pats prevail 25-22 here at NRG Stadium.
Mr. Bob Sosi. He's got hot takes.
He's miserable.
And he thinks that Felder and Maz are just a couple of snakes.
He's Mr. Bob Sosi. He's 5 foot fun. Here comes a take.
Don't touch.
That'll scorch you like the sun.
It's that time of the week. It's Bob Sosi, the voice of the Patriots. Catch him Sunday afternoon here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, calling Patriots Cowboys. Bob, how do the Patriots win this game? How do they beat the Cowboys?
They play their best game of the year, Mike, and they force the Cowboys, or at least they get the Cowboys to make some mistakes. But they have to play, they talk about playing to the standard. And the Patriots standard was established over 20 years, of course, with a different set of players, particularly at quarterback. And this particular group, again, with a large turnover on the roster, has been saying the last couple of weeks, we got to put things together. We're coming together, but we got to get, all three phases together for a complete game. Well, this is the time they need it because they're playing a complete team right now.
Okay, Bob, so I have a question for you. In the first half of that game against Houston, during a commercial break, did you find yourself, or did you say to yourself, uh-oh, this team sucks?
I don't know if I use those words, Tony, but, I've talked about it with Toucher and Rich the last couple of weeks, frankly, on my Monday appearances. One of the things about this team is that while they have some young players like the quarterback, Mac Jones, and on defense, to throw out a couple of names, Josh Uche, Kyle Duggar, this is also a group that when you look at the free agents they acquired, now, some of them are guys that are going into their prime, but they're all veterans. And these are guys that have been in the league for 4 years plus. Then you look at the defensive side of the ball, and you look at a lot of the key players on this team in the last year of their contracts. And so the thought process enters, boy, if they don't come out and win this game and give themselves a chance to really turn this in the right direction next week, well, what are you looking at not only the rest of 2021, but beyond, considering the number of players who are in the final year of their contract?
Okay, again, Bob Sosi, the voice of the Patriots. When we talk to him, we bring you the threat to eliminate. The threat to eliminate is brought to you by ReliaQuest. ReliaQuest, defending the world's largest companies against cyber threats. Make security possible at ReliaQuest.com. That's ReliaQuest.com. So it's like, what do the Patriots have to eliminate to win this game? That can sort of be like key to the game. So what I mean, Bob, is outside of play their best game of the year, give me something. How would you attack? How would you attack the Cowboys tactically on either side of the ball?
Okay, well, let's talk about the offense first of all. I mean, this is a team that hasn't scored with a drive, I think, of 75 yards or longer. Okay, so they've had long drives, but they haven't produced a lot of points off of them. They've really had to grind their way out, and they've gotten off to poor starts. They've scored only 10 points in the first quarter of games. The Cowboys, for example, have outscored the opposition 45-24 in the first quarter. So the Patriots have got to come out and start fast. They showed signs of doing that a couple of weeks ago, and then they kind of self-destructed on that first drive with a holding call, I believe, on Isaiah Wynn that took them backward, and they wound up punting. They came out no huddle. I think they have got to take some chances in this game in some respects. Not that they're going to throw downfield consistently the way they did against New Orleans, but they've got to try to find a way to generate some big plays, even against a ball-hawking defense. I mean, the Cowboys are a team that have produced multiple takeaways every game this year. In fact, for the last 9 games, going back to last season. And the big thing for me with the Patriots, too, is they have got to clean up mistakes that you don't expect of a Belichick coach team. And I know it's a different set of players. It's a different season than the past. But they're -3 in the turnover margin overall. And they've had only 1 takeaway at home. And this is a team that, last week on the final play of the game, the desperation lateral, that was their first fumble recovery since week 4 of last year. So they've got to make some plays, and I think out of some aggression in this game. Now, defensively, the Cowboys have run for over 200-plus yards the last 2 weeks. And we know they can throw with Lamb and Cooper, and the tight end Schultz, who's really a very good target for Prescott, particularly on third down. He's got so many options, plus both backs catch the ball coming out of the backfield. Always try to prioritize, I think, making a team play left-handed. Well, how do you do that with the Cowboys? Because if you want them to run, they're going to run it with those 2 backs behind that line. If you want to stop the run and force them to pass, well, they've got to find a way to create some mistakes by Prescott. One thing I will say, too, he hasn't played especially well on the road. His numbers, in fact, overall, 27-11 at home, 19-17 on the road. He also dominates the NFC East, 21-6, the win-loss numbers. Against the rest of the NFL, 25-23.
Okay, so those are career numbers, Bob. Right?
Those are career numbers. They're not this year's team against this year's Patriots team.
Yeah, well, not only that, I think Prescott's gone to another level this year. But I actually want to jump back to something else you said about.
Yeah, he's playing great.
Okay, the fumble recovery that you said they made was their first fumble recovery of the year. And I'm hung up on this stat now. Okay, I saw this a couple of weeks ago. 0 forced fumbles. 0. The Patriots and Jacksonville, the only two teams in the league that have not forced a fumble. And last year, the Patriots were dead last in the league in forced fumbles with 5 the whole season. Tell me what that means to you. The fact that they're not forcing fumbles, what does that mean?
Terry, I think I go back a couple of years ago. They were a team that forced a lot of mistakes by opponents, whether they were fumbles or turnovers. They played aggressive. We saw a lot of those amoeba fronts. We saw a lot of zero coverage. They had playmakers defensively, up front. Now, granted, the strength of schedule was different than last year, or I think, this stretch coming up, especially this year. But nonetheless, I think they got after teams and they played with a lot of confidence right out of the gate defensively. Great communication. They're able to do a lot of different things. I think a lot of ways this unit still trying to come together, but also, just look at who the Patriots are right now, the personnel and the secondary, for example. I think you got some linebackers that are trying to get their legs. Now, Hightower played well against the Houston Texans. Maybe Collins can get more involved in this game, and they can use him to try to make some more plays the way he did with one of his 3 snaps in that sack against the Houston Texans last week.
Okay, Bobby, final word. If the Patriots lose this game, are they porked?
Yeah, I'm never going to go there this early in the season, but it is. Look. We know who they are. Yeah. They're a 2-3 football team. In week 6 to 8, they say this is when you find out who you can be. You really get the read on the identity of a team. Again, this is a very important game. I said a couple of weeks ago, if they could play well against Tampa Bay, not necessarily win it, but play well, come out of that game and start to right themselves. This was the key game. I guess I've got to stand by that.
Okay, Bob. We appreciate the time, as always. We are looking forward to the call. 4:25 on Sunday, you and Zoe here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll hear you then.
Hey, can I quickly add one more hot take?
Oh, please. Yeah.
Yeah, about the nerds, the roto nerds.
Oh, yeah.
You're going back to your comments going into the last break. These are people, for the most part, who came of age during and became baseball fans when John Smoltz was squaring off with Jack Morris. Game 7, 1991, 1-0 final, 10 innings. There's nothing like that drama. 2 great pitchers, 2 starting pitchers going at it, one against the other. Enough of the opener stuff.
Okay, so that's an anti-nerd take. I was surprised. I thought you'd rally in defense of the nerds.
The nerd bullshit.
Okay, that a boy, Bob.
I'm a nerd overall, but when it comes to the baseball analytics and the idea of an opener, it drives me crazy.
Thank you. All right, Bob, you're on the right side of that one. Okay, but again, Sosi and Zolak with the call. 4:25 on Sunday. Agenda Free Friday continues after Murray's update. I want to hit on Bruce Cassidy was on TNR this morning, and he gave us insight into why the Bruins went after Linus Ullmark in the first place. You'll hear that, and we'll react to it right after, again, the update here with Big Jim.
This Sports Hub On Demand content is brought to you by Coastal Heritage Bank. At Coastal Heritage Bank, they have the privilege of being a community bank, committed to enriching the lives of their neighbors, including helping customers become homeowners. Visit coastalheritagebank.com to learn about their comprehensive line of mortgage products, including their first-time homebuyer program. Coastal Heritage Bank, growing together. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender, NMLS number 45145.
Felger and Maz.
Those guys are always trouble. I want nothing to do with this guy.
98.5, The Sports Hub.
I was only mentioning Tuca because I was bragging that I saw him.
Well, he does come into play, right? He's an established goaltender in this market. And, he's got great numbers. And it would be a good problem to have down the road if it turns out that way. But again, speculation right now. But at the end of the day, how did he look to you? Did he look sharp? Was he going golfing? Or
Okay, so here's the deal. So I'm driving to this country club, and Felger and Maz are crapping all over Rask. And then I see guys when you drive in, it's the 18th hole, and I see guys like meticulously looking for a ball on the 18th hole, and I thought to myself, who has the energy to do that? Who by then just drop? Like, what are you doing out there? You're screwing around. And it was Tuukka Rask. So then, so I'm just trying to be a hot shot, Bruce, is the only reason I brought Rask's name up at all.
Maybe the match was on the line.
So you're saying the match was on the line and Rask drilled it into the woods? That's a shocker. I never would have thought that.
I knew that was coming.
Huh. Boy, it could have knocked me over with a feather on that one.
It's got the yips. Shocker.
It's the 18th. The match is on the line.
Yeah.
Where's Tukes? Oh, he's looking for his ball. Of course. He freaking duck hooked it into the woods. And the match is on the line. What you expect him to actually come through with the match on the line?
Sounds like something I would do.
I'm surprised he didn't just haul off and quit. I mean, it's one of the two. He's either drilling it into the woods with the match on the line or he's bagging out. He got a little tummy as he had to come off the course. It's one of the two. It's good to see Tukes is hard at work rehabbing that hip, though. It's good. No, he's right back at it.
Range of motion.
What don't you get, people? He's not invested. He doesn't really care about the game anymore. He doesn't. His career's in the balance. He's got a pretty big surgery to come back from, and he's rehabbing on the golf course. And of course, to boot, the match is on the line. It's 18, and he slices it into the woods because the match is on the line. That's how I took that story.
I think it's actually a hook in this particular case.
Who knows?
Either way.
Who knows where the woods were? The match was on the line, and he wasn't in play. Shocker.
A little bit of pressure, and out comes the poop.
Shocker. Okay, so either way, that's Bruce Cassidy on this one with TNR. The full interview is up on 985thesportshub.com or the app. It's a good spot, as usual. And they just do that to get into. Cassidy did, Fred came around and asked him, why did you go sign Ullmark when you had a good, young, cheap goalie here ready to go? And, why'd you waste money and cap space on a position you seemingly had covered with a good, young, inexpensive player? Here's what Cassidy said.
We knew Swayman was going to be a good goaltender after last year, but you walk through some scenarios. Carter Hart, for example, in Philadelphia, right, has a great rookie year, but a young guy, then gets anointed the starter and kind of crashes last year a little bit. So we wanted to surround Sway with capable 1B, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exactly the same as football because we typically will not play the quarterback's going to start every game unless he's hurt or stinks, So,
right.
Our goalies are always going to have some sort of split. We would, even if Swayman, if we decided he was our guy, he wouldn't have played more than probably 65% of the games in today's schedule is too intense anyway. So that's part of the thinking. We wanted to, and then we had Danny Vladar, who was had some moments for us, but he was also young. Yeah, I think he had 4 career starts, so we weren't going to go into the season like that. So we went to market.
Okay. The one name you just need to know in there is Carter Hart. That's the answer, Carter Hart. They're afraid. They're afraid is the answer, but they're afraid of putting too much on the young kid too early and ruining him. Okay, which I knew. I mean, I knew that. Like, it was obvious. They are petrified of putting too much on Swayman. We don't want another Connor Hart here. Because you know what happens with the guy like Carter Hart? You know what happens when Carter Hart craps a bed in Philadelphia? Coaches and GMs get fired. And that's how I think this Bruins front office and coaching staff manages this team. I think they manage it just to be a second-round team because Jerry Jacobs is happy with the second round. You get at least 4, usually more, home playoff dates. That's all gravy. That's all revenue. And if you can guarantee Jerry Jacobs a second round every single year, you never lose your job. See Harry Sinden. And I think it's the same math down there at play. It's hard not for me to think this way. It's the same math. It's the same economics. Make the second round, you keep your job. And if you go with a rookie goalie, you are risking him falling on his face, you missing the playoffs and getting fired. That's what I think's at play there.
Yeah, it's cover your ass. 101 is what it is, and it's just, I don't know, like fortune favors the bold, and it has in the past. Isn't Matt Murray a rookie in 2016 when he played with Pittsburgh? Like, we know the Bennington thing. Sometimes you're just going to ride the kid because you know he can play.
The play here is to play the young kids in net, use that money to build your team and go for it. And that's how you have a better team and a better chance to win a cup. But there's risk there because you've got a kid in net. And we're not going to be Carter Hart, and we're not going to be the Hextall guy in Philly who got his ass candered, Alain Vigneault, who got his ass, we're not going to be the Flyers. And, that's why I think you're a second-round team. And it's just sort of that mentality. It's hard for me not to go there.
So just like, I don't dispute that whole, look, the Bruins' history when it comes to that is pretty clear. So my question, though, is there any truth to it? And I don't mean like that they're trying to save their asses. I mean protecting the kid. Is there any validity to it? Can young goalies be ruined?
Of course. So, all right, fine. You want to put someone next to him to hold his hand and protect him. Do you have to go out and sign the second highest paid goalie in free agency?
So this was my issue. I can't believe they paid this guy $5 million.
So why did you need to do this? Braden Holtby was sitting there on the market. He signed for 1 year, $2 million in Dallas. Won the other night, looked pretty good. And I know he had a bad year and was at Vancouver last year, but so that takes a little bit of risk, right? That you're going to put a rookie goalie next to a guy, a veteran, who may be on the back nine who had a bad year out west last year. There's risk there. But there's upside there too. You then take that money and you spend it on a defenseman and you've got a better team. If it works, they were afraid to do it. Braden Holtby, 1 year, $2 million in Dallas. Martin Jones, 1 year, he went to Philly to try and hold Carter Hart's hand. I know Martin Jones sucks and Braden Holtby this. Yeah, it's a risk. It's a risk. And what you're doing is you're hoping that those guys, certainly Braden Holtby, who's played out east his whole career, knows the teams out here, is probably more comfortable out here. He's probably a fish out of water in Vancouver. But either way, it's a risk that Holtby's going to regain some of his former form. But you take that risk, you put him, in a conference that he's more comfortable in, where he's played his whole career. You surround him with a good defensive structure, and you hope Braden Holtby turns back into 85% of what Braden Holtby was with the Capitals. Now you're in business. 1 year, $2 million. Swayman's the guy. If he's not, Holtby's there. You've got at least $3 extra million to go put into your defense core, which you desperately need in your better team. Instead, they go out and sign the second highest paid goalie in free agency for 4 years when you got a good young kid, a stud. Oh, God, it's so conservative. It's so safe. It's so scared. It's scared. It's scared. And I am sorry. I think it's about job preservation as much as anything.
Yeah, I don't rule that out. And again, let's go with the Holtby scenario. Then if you don't sign Howla and I know I'm harping on this, but if you don't sign Howla or Nosek, you save another $2 million there.
Okay, so there's a $5 million defenseman. Pretty good.
Yes, absolutely. You can go out and absolutely do that. And you might even be able to, if you replace Riley, that money goes in there too. Now you get yourself a top 4D.
And we can keep playing this game. Maybe you move on from Jake DeBrusk, who's just really not that good. I don't know if you've noticed this yet by now or not, but he's just really not that special. So maybe you move on from him too. Sell low, fine, whatever. Just ditch the salary. Now you're really in business for a stud D. And we can keep going on this. So it's like, I just don't like the way that was met. But the one that really burns me is just the Ullmark. Even if Ullmark can play, it's the wrong move. But if he can't, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Linus Skidmark.
But I'm glad they're leaving the door open for Tukes. Good. Just keep leaving the door open for Tukes. It's good. He's probably on 16 now. All right? And if it's close, I feel bad for his partner. Because here comes the pants crapping. He'll be fishing for the ball in 18 again. You better believe it with your Nassau on the line. All right, there's that. Long commercial-free segment is next.
Sports. Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Maz here with Tim Wakefield, and no matter how you watch the game, you'll win with Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi, the official wine of Major League Baseball.
Get Woodbridge wine and open up a winner. It's got the smooth, fruit-forward flavors that have been a game day tradition for over 40 years. Shop delivery and pickup options at orderwoodbridge.com.
Please enjoy Woodbridge wines responsibly. 2021 Woodbridge Winery, Acampo, California.
Felger and Mass.
They've been incredibly consistent.
The only thing that's consistent is their inconsistency.
I don't think that's inconsistent.
Yeah, which is exactly what Murray said.
Am I misinterpreting it?
No.
Now, more Felger and Mass on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Our expectations are to win the World Series, and we're not even close. We had a great first half. We played well for a while. If you put everything in perspective this month, we didn't play well.
Schwarber on at first base after the error by the second baseman. It's gone! Home run! Rafael Devers destroys one to center field.
What a ride it's been the last month.
0-2 on Soto, and here it comes. Breaking ball! Struck him out, and the Red Sox have won the top wild card position. They knock off Washington.
The Red Sox did what they had to do. They never gave up today. The Red Sox are right where they want to be, hosting the wild card against the Yankees Tuesday night.
2-1 pitch. Bogart sends a drive to center field and deep. Gardner turns around and watches it fly. Among players traded at the deadline this year, Kyle Schwarber's 957 OPS was the best. High and deep out to right field. Judge back and watching, and it's gone! Torres sends a fly ball out to right. Hunter Renfroe's got it, and the Red Sox have a date with the Rays.
I mean, I think it was a huge advantage for us being able to play at home. I mean, anytime you get home field advantage, it benefits the team, especially if they're one of the teams like us that we play better at home.
Kike Hernandez has tied the game.
3 homers tonight, all 3 with 2 strikes. 2-strike pitch here.
Is lifted to straightaway center field. It's gone! Another 2-strike bomb! Red Sox take the lead!
This team has for some reason, I don't know, every time it comes down to the wire, last game, they always find a way to step up. And this game's crazy. We have a good enough team all around, I feel like, where we can go out there and compete with anyone.
With catcher Christian Vasquez having a chance, there have been 7 walk-off homers by a catcher in postseason history. Do I hear number 8?
This is October, man. We play for this moment, so we're happy to be here. 1 game closest to American League champions, so let's get it tomorrow.
First and third, 1 gone, bottom of the 9th inning. Kike Hernandez, who has 9 hits in the last 3 games. On an 0-1 pitch, Hernandez lifts one to left center field. It is pulled in by Meadows. Here comes Santana. The Red Sox out of the championship series.
Thank you, fans. Thanks for yelling my name. That made my confidence go up a few levels. So thank you for that.
We've been up against a pretty tall order the entire year. People not thinking we were who we thought we were. People trying to tell us who we are. Up to this point, we've done nothing but prove those people wrong.
We're 4 games away from the World Series. We win 4 games, and we're right there. We have to keep working hard for what we have. I feel that we got a chance to win the World Series.
Jimmy Stewart's fine look at the Red Sox season to this point. Chris Gasper standing by with a flamethrower, from what I understand, relating to Mac Jones. We'll get to him at the 4 o'clock hour. But let's zip through these calls quickly as possible, okay, folks? Paul in New Hampshire, go ahead, please.
Hey, guys, thank you for taking my call. So based on that last segment, I think we all know the answer to should the Bruins re-sign Rask is an absolute no. But with all of the signings that they've made, especially with McAvoy today, can they, financially, in a hard cap league, can they actually do it, and will they do it? Thanks, guys.
So I have no idea. I hope not. I hope it's just lip service, that they don't want to say, no, he's out, we're firing him. They want to keep putting it on him. I hope, but I don't know, knowing them, how scared and conservative they are in net, I don't know. They probably are leaving the door open for him. And if Rask wants it bad enough, he'll have to take a cheap contract. That's it. Here's Dylan in Duxbury. Go ahead, Dylan. But oh, by the way, the fact that Rask presumably will only play for one team tells you how soft and checked out he is. If he was dead set on playing hockey and being a hockey player, and that was his passion to be in the NHL, or I don't know, maybe win a cup, then he'd say, I'm going wherever I can go to give myself a best chance to win and continue my career because that is my passion. Instead, he's only going to play for one team because he's comfy here. he can still, most days, make it in time for an afternoon 18 at Woodland. That's not his priority. That's the only reason he wants to play here is because he's comfortable here, not because he's passionate about the thing. That's all you need to know. Sorry, Dylan in Duxbury. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, hey, Rask is softer than white rice. But two quick things. Do you think if the Patriots 5 years ago played like they did against Houston, Belichick would be praising in the locker room and giving a victory Monday? And real quick, I don't know if you watched last night's game, but they talked about when they went for two about the analytics of it.
Oh, yeah.
About ESPN.
Oh, yeah. So I'll stop you there. Yes, 5 years ago, no. 5 years ago, this would have been a rough week in Foxborough. Instead, he gave it to him off. So that tells you the fragile state of his team right now. The going for two down 14 is enough to make you want to throw up in your mouth. I get it. It worked.
And boy, did that bone a lot of gamblers.
And I think a lot of gamblers were, I think the spread was 7, right?
Yeah.
6.5.
How about the 4th and 2?
Or maybe it benefited a couple of people.
Oh.
How about the 4th and 2?
Philly.
That the Bucks went for midfield. That almost it certainly gave all the momentum back to Philadelphia at that point in the game. What the hell are you doing? Punt it away, you dummies.
Here's Brian in Medford. Go ahead, Brian. You're up next.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, just looking a little confused about your analysis on the McAvoy contract. You said you were a little hesitant about the number there, and at that number, he needs to be the top Norris guy in the league. But he's only the 4th highest paid defenseman in the league and probably going to drop after next year when Fox gets his deal. So why does he have to be the number one defenseman at that number?
I don't remember saying he had to be the number one guy.
You did. You said at that number, that's a scary contract. He needs to be the Norris guy in the league, not just a top 5 guy.
See, I viewed that as a Norris guy. Like, he has to be one of those guys.
I don't remember exactly why
he's a top 5 guy in the league. He was 5th last year.
Brian, he's not, to me, in my mind, he's not as much of a factor offensively as he needs to be considered that guy, whatever that means. You know what I mean. I think he's a step below that offensively.
I guess I don't because of the number he's getting, but agree to disagree.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'll tell you what worries me about the contract. That if you're going to have a contract like that on your roster, fine, no problem. You better be pumping out players from your system. Because, again, that's how you control costs. So, this is an area where the Bruins have dried up. Swayman can help them there. But, they did sign Elmark.
Let me just give an example of what I'm talking about. And again, this is going to expose me for not knowing something I should know. I'm sorry in advance, but the UMass defenseman in Colorado, Makar, is it Maker or Makar? I keep forgetting. Okay, but either way, that kid, freaking stud. He signed for $9 million too. Okay, in his 2 years in the league, he scored as a rookie 50 points in 57 games, and last year 44 points in 44 games. Okay, that's a point a game. I said half a point, which is actually what, if you go per game average, which McAvoy actually does. And I didn't realize it because he sat out. And that's another thing. He's not very durable. He's always sitting out for injuries, McAvoy is. But when you look at a kid like Makar or Maker, however you pronounce it, like that's offensive impact. McAvoy's not there yet. I hope he gets there. He should get there. He's building towards that. And, oh, by the way, I'd still sign him to the contract. But if you think that he's like right now a top 2 or 3 defenseman in the league, I don't know what you're watching. I don't think he is.
He's got to shoot the puck more. Again, I asked you to read the goals yesterday, single digits in goals. I'm not saying he needs 20. I'm delusional. Can he get you 10? How about 15? Like somewhere in that area, you got to shoot the damn puck.
Oh, my God. There's nothing worse than sensitive Bruins fans.
And his point totals will go up if he shoots the damn puck because he'll get plenty of assists on deflections and everything else.
A guy, the guy. You said a guy, the guy. You know what I mean. Jesus. Mark in Worcester. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, guys. You mentioned earlier that Cora isn't scared to go for the throat. The other day, Mike Schilt was fired from the St. Louis Cardinals as manager, a guy who came up from the bottom of the organization. 17 years, 17 wins in a row, but his job wasn't safe. Maybe he was going too far away from the 3-ring binder there, the nerds. Is Cora safe? Other managers safe when it comes to things like that? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
No. You go against the nerds, you're canned.
Correct.
I mean, didn't Schilt say I think he said philosophical differences, right?
That's what the team said.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you think that means?
Oh, he got fired because he opened his mouth about the spider tax stuff way before everybody else did.
Yeah, there was that too. Remember that?
I don't.
He had a 10-minute rant about how they're using sticky stuff. We're clean over here in St. Louis, and he opened the door for everything that's happened since.
Remember his pitcher had to change his hat?
Yep.
Remember that? The guy had to swap his hat out. And
why didn't they fire him then?
Probably just because it was in season.
But that was the hottest team in baseball the last month plus of the year.
I think that guy's an asshat, if you want to know the truth. I'd have fired him I never would have hired him in the first place.
I'm, like an emailer said to us yesterday, I'm blaming the nerds. I mean, when Dave Roberts is asked yesterday why you're going with an opener with a 20-game winner all lined up to start that game, and he says, organizational decision, and I only got one vote. What do you think he's saying?
Don't put it on me if this blows up.
Oh, yeah, he says I got overruled by the nerds.
What do you think he's saying? He's saying this is coming from upstairs. And that's why I love when people, blamed Dave Roberts for these decisions with the Dodgers. Like, you think he has any say in that? My guess is managers hardly have any say in any of this stuff.
The machines have the most votes.
Would be my guess. Absolutely. We've got Chris Gasper. Like I said, Chris Gasper, I think, is a little hot under the collar with our buddy Greg Bedard.
Oh, jeez.
I think he wants to, just as we hoped, Maz, we've provoked these two to go at each other when they're not in the room, and we can just sit back and watch.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah. So
long-distance sniping.
I think Gasper's got a few things to get off his chest as it relates to one Mac Jones. We'll get his thoughts on the Patriots and the Cowboys, his thoughts on Red Sox, Astros as well. It's our long commercial-free segment, so no commercials here, just a 90-second update from Big Jim Murray, and we are right back.
Boom Boom Games, your home for 80s and 90s retro video games, wrestling figures and collectibles, vintage toys, cards, comics, and all your nostalgia needs. They've got something for every console, from Atari 2600 to the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Looking for a specific video game? Let them know and they'll try to source it for you. Do you have some old consoles or collectibles? Bring them in because Boom Boom Games buys and trades. Boom Boom Games is also your store for Star Wars toys, Pokemon, and the wrestling section will have you feeling that sweet chin music. Boom Boom Games in Billerica. Check them out.